Okay. Places, everyone. 5, 4, 3. Live from Central Queensland, it's the Boom Real Estate Podcast.
All right, here we are on our first podcast.
It's great to be here, Prue.
Hello, Paul.
Hey.
I'm Prue.
Look at us go.
Team Boom.
Boom team.
So I really would like to pick your brain today, Paul. I want to know what makes you as a sales agent. Like what tools you're bringing in, where you've been in life, what you've learnt, and how you've collated that all into becoming like a really great sales agent.
Well, that's a lot of big words there already. I like it. I like it. Look, I've had numerous careers throughout my time, but, I was working at the mines. I went into real estate in 2013, went and worked for Ray White, then learned all the skills in at Ray White. It was definitely a very good experience and bad experience at the same time. I didn't know anything about real estate, so it was my first experience in it, so I didn't know any better, I didn't know any worse. And it was very old school. I went from Ray White to back out to the mines because I was frustrated with how that was, because at the mines I was making a lot of money. I went to Ray White and I noticed that everyone didn't make money, so that was a big concern for me. So I thought, you know what, I need money. I'm going to go back out to the mines and make consistent, good, money, 6-figure salaries. And then real estate really got into my blood, and I wanted to pursue real estate further as a career. Luckily, I caught up with a great principal in Rockhampton, Toddy, and I went to McGrath and I learnt fantastic ways to do real estate with incredible marketing, how to negotiate, how to be really ethical and transparent. And, I learnt lots from John McGrath and all the McGrath training people that came on board to teach us. And it was a great place to work, and I would have stayed there forever, except the commission split was terrible. Great their way, just bad my way, unfortunately. So, someone won and someone lost. And I think that's changed, though, now in the industry. I don't think people are getting like 45% commissions like I was on. I think sales agents now are paid pretty fairly, I think, from agencies. I'm not too sure, but I know at Boom we'd pay them, 70% easily, for an agent. But So yeah, I was at McGrath. I was loving it there. It was great. Unfortunately, the commission split wasn't favourable for me to make it worthwhile financially. So I decided to open up my own agency, and this agency, Boom, came about all the way back in 2013 when 2 weeks into my career with Ray White, I knew then and there that I was going to open Boom Real Estate, and I designed the website, and I'm pretty sure I could find like an email to myself in 2013 that had Boom Real Estate all mapped out already, and I was adamant that I could run my own real estate then. A fool, of course, because I had no idea what I was talking about, and typical Paul Murphy sort of stuff, I just jump in head first and then figure it all out later.
Yeah.
And I always had this in my mind that maybe at some stage I'd open my own real estate, and it just sort of happened, just with the commission split. I thought, I can go out and do this, and why am I giving 55% of everything away to an agency where I could take 100% of the commission? Mm-hmm. I could start doing it the way I want to do it, marketing wise, I knew it all, so sort of thing.
Yeah.
I didn't, but I thought that I did, and so I decided I'd open Boom up, which I did in 2016, and we had a really great run for 5 years. Boom, 2016 till the end of mid 2021. Where I joined Cisco, one of the largest companies in the world. I joined them as the APJC virtual sales leader for small and medium business, and ran a sales team across, this side of the world. So
wow.
And then back to Boom 2.0. Now there's a lot more in all of that. That we could dive deeper into, but we got a really tight schedule. We're doing 20-minute podcasts, so we don't want to go too deep. If we want to deep dive into certain issues or time periods, we can definitely do that on other shows.
But I want to know, so when you're at Ray White, so when you say old school, in what way?
Oh, so old school. So old school. So great people, got nothing bad to say about it. And it was a great experience in my my first step into real estate. The photography, so the marketing, right? So let's just start at the start. The marketing was dreadful. And that's not their fault. It was 2013. People were doing like core flute boards. I remember going out with the other sales agents that were sort of taking me under their wing at the start. Janice, she was a lovely lady, Janice Jones. She's no longer, I don't think, in real estate anymore. I would go out and hammer the hardwood stakes into the ground and screw the core flute, Ray White signs up out the front of the properties as she was getting listings and I was starting, and then doing it to my own listings as well. And then the photography, it was just like it was all in-house shot photography, which has actually come full circle and back again, but now it's professional.
Yep.
And the photography back then was dreadful, just dreadfully bad. There was no drone shots. There was nothing like that. There was no video. There was no social media. It was all print. That's how they sort of did all their marketing, was how every agency did all their marketing. So keep in mind that every agency was like this. This wasn't just Ray White. This was every single agency. That was the standard in that time period.
Yeah.
It wasn't till McGrath came in 2015 that it changed.
Yep.
So, and luckily enough, I joined day one when McGrath started here. I joined in the beautiful brand new offices, and it was night and day difference from what I experienced in my first outing into real estate. And that's nothing against that real estate. It was just the time period.
It was just the time.
And
so what about client management? What were you doing in Ray White?
Nothing.
To reach out and
it was training for sales agents there was bad. It was basically like, here's the database, put in everyone you know into the database, and then that was it. I don't think I had any DL cards to go and deliver. There was no marketing, because they didn't do any social media or anything like that.
Was it just picking up the phone every day?
Picking up the phone sort of thing, just calling the people you know.
Okay.
I remember I started going through and calling just through the phone book, and I'd pick out streets. I think we were using either Pricefinder or RP Data, and I'd just pick out the streets and start calling the numbers on the streets and say, can I send you through an appraisal? Would you like an appraisal? Can I send you a market update? And back then it was like print out, 5 or 10 pieces of paper and staple it together and drive around and deliver it to them.
Do a drop by.
And that was terrible as well.
And how did you find the communication on the phone? Were people open and willing to talk to you, or
Some
was
people,
it quite abrupt?
Yeah. Some people were very friendly. It's a small town,
Yeah.
Even back then, I'd call up and they'd be like, oh, Paul, what are you doing in real estate?
Yeah,
So,
nice.
It was
Not as daunting.
not as daunting. I never really enjoyed the cold calling side of it. Warm calls, sure, but the cold calling, no. And I think back then the training on how to actually prospect and get listings wasn't fantastic. Could have definitely been done a lot better. However, that was probably the period. And
That's right.
when I joined there, I came from a very 200,000 plus salary out the mines, went there and noticed that all these people made no money. There was the people that made the money were the principals, it was all the other people literally were broke. They drove shitty cars and had no money and complained nonstop about not having money. And so that was a real scare for me. And I thought, oh man, I don't know if I want to do this. And that's when I quit there after 8 months. I went back out to the mines and worked there for 3 months before I joined McGrath. Because I loved real estate. I knew I loved real estate. I just didn't love that way of doing real estate.
That's right.
So that didn't work with me.
No. So you went into McGrath and then you seen the crazy good marketing and you thought, wow, this is next
Fantastic.
level.
Yep.
Did you really start to drive a bit of a passion?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I got on really well with the principal there, Todd. He was fantastic, helped me a lot, trained me very well. It was a really good place to work. Great people, Bevy and Todd and all the property managers. The sales team was good as well. It was a beautiful office, great marketing. The McGrath guys would come up from down south and train and go through everything with you, and just the way they did things was just, it was like, you imagine living in Rocky your whole life, and then next minute you're in the city in Sydney. You're in Double Bay, or the points at Sydney. It was like that. It was like just you were like time ported to a different era in how things could be done.
Yep.
And just like the way they would shoot the properties, and all the stuff was just the signboards. Like, we were the first one to have illuminated signboards. You drive past at night and the signboards are lit up. People are losing their minds. It was crazy. And then it was great stuff. So it was a great place to work, and I got so much experience from it, and learnt, especially like all the John McGrath training as well, how to be open, honest, and ethical, and obviously how to negotiate very well for your sellers.
Yep.
But how to be, a good person as well, and do the right thing, because it was all about building clients or customers for life. Do the right thing. Right. They keep coming back, because someone's going to sell properties multiple times throughout their life.
Yeah.
And you want to be there every time to help them do that.
That's exactly right. I think sometimes people may forget that those buyers could eventually become their sellers.
Yeah.
If they're treated right, and if you build it, like you're saying, be a nice person, be a good person. And do right by everybody. But of course, you still want to put priority your sellers, your vendors.
Yeah.
But maintaining like that ethical workspace for everybody.
Yeah, well,
really important.
Buyers and sellers, that's your whole deal.
It just keeps
They're
going.
50% each.
That's
one,
exactly
right? You can't sell a house unless you've got a buyer.
That's exactly right.
So you need to make sure that you're treating these buyers really well, because the buyers then become sellers, and the whole circle turns. The wheel moves, and so you got to do the right thing by people. And I think going back then, we really didn't nurture buyers to the extent that we could have, and that's not a Ray White or a McGrath thing, or that was just how it was in the time.
Yep.
And I think it's changed a lot, real estate, even in the last 5 years, where like the real nurturing system and how to make sure buyers and sellers are looked after equally, pretty much. It's great now. So I still don't think it's good for buyers. I think it should be so much better than it currently is. That will change. That will definitely change, and I want to make sure that we really look after our buyers as well. But they still get it pretty bad. And I've been on the side of that as well. So I bought property through other agents, and the experience is terrible. I've sold property through agents. We sold our place in Brisbane with someone else. Terrible experience.
Really?
Terrible. So lies. It was like this agent rocked in. I had a few agents come out. Like, this is our Brisbane house, and I had a few agents come out, and this one came out, and they were like the predominant real estate that was selling the most for our area. And rocks in, young guy, compared to me, young guy, probably late 20s. Turns up in the suit. He's got 4 bottles of Paco Rabanne on. He probably had a 1986 Jaguar parked out the front. I'm not too sure, but just the typical real estate agent. Bought the listing, so would just say whatever price he needed to say to make sure that we would sign up, to get that listing. Like, $15 million, that seems reasonable, joking. And then I remember we signed the Form 6 agreement, and then like within 5 minutes, he's like, oh yeah, I'm probably not going to be here, because we were taking the property to auction. I won't be here for the first 2 weeks of that either. And I was like, what? I felt like just ripping it up right there and then. So it wasn't a great experience down there, and compared to what we do, we really look after our sellers and buyers. So it was frustrating. There's lots of bad agents in the game. I would say 90% of agents are pretty shit, but there's some unbelievably good ones though as well. So unfortunately, the bad ones, far outweigh they taint the good ones. They they give us all a bad name. So that's real estate. That's probably the same with every industry. If there's probably Uber drivers, bad Uber drivers,
Yeah.
good pilots, bad pilots, they crash.
But great
So-
for you to experience that, because you can see that and go, well, that's not what to do, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, every time you see something wrong, then you can take a mental note of, make sure we never do that.
How do we improve on
How was that
Yeah.
experience? How did the buyer feel? How did the seller feel in that,
That's exactly right.
we bought our house here, not one follow-up since we bought that house at all. So that's poor. That's
Yep.
very poor. You want to be nurturing those clients all the way through. So there's some bad stuff in real estate, good stuff as well. Real estate's also very good. Great people in real estate.
Yeah.
Some people bad, some people good.
So what about Cisco? You also went and did a lot of people management in Cisco?
Sure did.
So what sort of skills did you bring forth from there?
Lots of skills. So, yep. So, our boom period, 2016 to 2021, wasn't great at managing people. Didn't really have a great skill set in that. Went to Cisco, became a manager there of a lot of people, a lot of salespeople across lots of different countries. So Cisco was great. They put me through a lot of management training, taught me how to be public speaking courses. They put me through as well. Flew me to Atlanta. I did public speaking courses there. They taught me how to identify different personality types, what works for them, how to motivate people, understand drivers in people, how to every single facet of management and being a leader. I was taught to do at Cisco, and it was fantastic. It was, even if it was just, and the whole Cisco period I did, the 3.5, 4 years at Cisco, it was fantastic. I loved every second of it. But even if I could take one thing away from that period, it would be the training that I got just in how to lead people and different people. It was great. It's something you'll have with you forever, sort of thing.
Yeah, that's really invaluable, especially coming across to real estate, because you're dealing with people all the time.
Yeah, well, you're dealing with people, and even buyers and sellers. I'm still managing them. As well. We just sold a property recently, and I remember I would say to my sellers all the time, I'm just hugging these buyers. I hug them all the way through. I just keep hugging them. I want to make sure they feel safe and they're being communicated with, and they know exactly what's going on, and they never need to wonder what's happening. I want to make sure that I'm giving them any bit of information they need before they know they even need it. And they don't feel like they've signed a contract and been tricked into something. I just nurture. I just hug. They're all like my children. I just hug them all the way through. Just want them to feel good. They've made a good decision, and everything's going to be okay.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah.
How great.
Yeah.
I want to sign up.
I got some houses.
Sign me up, Paul.
Yeah. We'll do a contract straight after this. Yeah. Flick it to you, DocuSign.
That's great. That's really nice to hear. So, one thing actually I really want to know, your negotiating skills.
Yeah.
So, working alongside you, obviously I get to hear how you work and how you do your job. And one thing I'm always thinking is your skill. You have a really great skill set with negotiating. Did you just learn that along the way, or was this just something that you've it's gotten better and better with practice?
Yeah, no, it's definitely gotten better and better. Definitely, I don't think I was. I think I was always gifted in talking to people. I was always, they say there's born salespeople and trained salespeople. I was definitely a born salesperson straight away. But learning the skills, how to negotiate, big properties, life-changing decisions for people, that's different. You're not going out and buying a table at Harvey Norman. You're spending, even back then, $500,000 on a property. Or a seller potentially thinking about selling their property, and you're negotiating with them in a way that you're going to be the best agent to achieve the best price for them. So you want to convince them that you're the right person for the job, and a buyer, convince them that what they're spending on the property is the right amount of money to pay for the property. So I learn a lot, and I'm still learning. It's a constant learn skill set. But I learned a lot of that when I was with McGrath. It was invaluable what I learned there. But I constantly train every week, through podcasts or YouTube or I catch up with a few other principals as well and run ideas past them. And so I'm constantly training. But I listen to a real estate podcast like every morning pretty much. And so I'm immersed in real estate non-stop. It's 27 hours a day of real estate.
Nice.
Yeah.
Forever growing. But that's
Forever.
this day and age, right?
Yeah.
If you stop learning, you stop growing, then
Yeah.
you're just behind in the game.
We're learning everything. We're learning, how to be better at marketing. We're learning. This is a 20-minute buzzer.
Here we go.
We've been talking for 20 minutes. So we'll have to wrap it up pretty soon.
Wrap it up.
But yeah, no, I'm learning. I'm constantly learning. Learning how to be a better owner of the business, how to be a better salesperson, how to be a better husband, a better father, a better marketer, a better negotiator. All those. I'm forever learning. So I'm not going to stop doing that.
That's right.
I want to try and be the best version of myself that I can possibly be, and then hopefully that then transfers across to being the best agent I could possibly be for my sellers and buyers, and the best leader I can be in Boom as well for not only yourself but everyone else that's going to come on board as well. So I want to continuously get better, and I definitely don't say I'm good. I think there's always improvements that I can make.
Yep.
And I'll be the first one to put my hand up and say I can be better. I can do better.
Yeah.
I'll get better.
Yeah, I love
Yep.
that. I completely agree. Nice.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul.
Hey,
Yeah.
you're welcome, Prue. Hey, come back
Thanks for
anytime.
sharing. Come back next week.
Come back next week. I don't know how often we're going to do these. Once a week, maybe twice a week. Who knows? But they're just going to be great, educational
Yeah. That was nice to dive in.
podcasts about what's happening in real estate. We'll talk more about history as well of Boom and
Experiences.
Prue's history as well.
Not much.
But all that sort of stuff.
Yeah,
So
everything that comes up. Really looking forward to it.
It's just a great chat, isn't it?
Yeah.
All right.
All right. Peace out.
Thanks, Prue.
Cool.